What's up guys, it's Sam here, and today I'm going to talk about the metaverse cryptocurrencies that you can use to take advantage of this, and I'm going to be focusing on the Sandbox. So the Sandbox is a token that I recently purchased, just a small amount, about 1 or 2% of my overall portfolio, and I'm just doing it basically just to have exposure to the metaverse cryptocurrencies and just seeing how far it can go. I'm not putting in a crazy amount, so if I lost it all, it doesn't really matter to me too much, but if it goes up incredibly in value, then absolutely fantastic. Look guys, I'm going to get into depth on what is it about, what the Sandbox is, what the token does, my kind of predictions for it, where I think it's going over time. And look guys, I will get straight into the video. First, remember to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps out an awful lot. And if you're interested, do join our free Discord chat, which is down below in the description as well. So guys, without further ado, it's going to get straight into the video. So what is the Sandbox like? So for all of you that don't know or have never heard of the Sandbox, it was founded around 2012 by Sebastian Bourget and Arthur Madrid, and they made a company called Pixel. So not to be confused with the Pixel, the people who make animation and stuff, is not them, they're completely different. And it was based in San Francisco. So it started with like a 2 mobile game where you could build virtual worlds, and it amassed a user base of around 40 million people. And that's actually still available today. But after the 2017 crypto bull run, Pixel announced that it was going to turn this into like a 3D game, and it was going to be built on the Ethereum blockchain. And they basically used this to create like NFTs in game that people could basically sell and buy and create like a virtual economy. So in 2018 as well, Pixel was acquired by Animoca Brands, which is a company in Hong Kong, which was specifically going to focus on entertainment and blockchain and gamification. So like basically they now switched their focus just from having a game to now trying to incorporate blockchain into their game and basically expanding it as much as possible. And like basically as part of this acquisition, TSB Gaming Limited for Profit was also incorporated into this deal, which is based in Malta. So Malta is known for having lots of different laws around cryptocurrencies, and it's very, very lax when it comes to gaming and things like that. So the gambling companies all have a lot of bases in Malta. So that was probably a lot of motivation of having it there. So this company has obviously been using the Ethereum network, and in recent times they've also gone on to Polygon, which we will get into in more detail later on. But basically the Sandbox's virtual world consists of like 166,000 plots of land, all based on ERC721 tokens, which are tokens on Ethereum. And look, I'm not going to get too much detail about them kind of things. I don't really know exactly what that sort of stuff is, but look, I got it right for here. But what it stands for is basically all of these plots of lands are now non-fungible tokens, so NFTs, so to speak. So we all kind of know what NFTs are. They're like these pictures people buy because you get the first digital signature and it's yours. These things are selling for crazy money. So what the land is separated to inside Sandbox is it's grouped into different estates or districts, where estates are owned by one person, districts are owned by 2 or more people. And you can also see that land inside the Sandbox is actually owned by companies in certain places. So you have some like Binance, even maybe Gemini, they've all got basically land inside the virtual Sandbox. So yeah, this is a pretty crazy idea as we're getting into the metaverse, and virtual land is now becoming a thing. Like we've seen some recent sales and for crazy money, be it on Decentraland or Sand or Axie Infinity. Like these things are starting to sell for a lot of money. So what the land can be done, it can be customized with their in-house software that they have called Vox editing software, which it creates game assets which then can be basically used as NFTs and resold. So the land is basically monetized that way. Like, so you can create a mansion inside your land, like, and you can resell that as an NFT if someone wants to buy it. So that's how people are making money from this. So now that Sand is an ERC20 on Ethereum, the Sandbox in-game currency and land give governance rights basically to the holders of Sand that can actually be staked inside the Sandbox as well to create additional rewards. The only thing is with this is that Sand is currently a closed beta. It's not actually open to the public in its final form yet. So that is something that will be hoping to happen either even this month or even probably going into 2022. So that just gives you a rough idea of what Sandbox is. It's a virtual world where people will buy land, they will create items inside the game itself, and they will basically sell them as NFTs using the Sand token as the currency inside this game. So that gives you just a bit of a basis around what this token actually is and what the project is behind it. It's a couple of things of what Sand has been up to over the last year, or the Sandbox Foundation as they are known. Basically at the end of March of this year, they'll announce the public version of their NFT marketplace, which has actually become the third highest NFT marketplace by trading volume. So this is a pretty crazy thing when you're looking at the other ones with like OpenSea and stuff, and they're basically one of the top players, possibly just because of the in-game transactions that do go on here. So it's just one of the things. In June, the Sandbox recently upgraded their VOX software to create like a seamless experience, creating in-game assets, and also contributed to around 15k assets being created inside the Sandbox community. At the moment, this is a crazy amount of assets that can now be sold as NFTs on the marketplace. And also at the end of June, we know how important the environment is these days and becoming green, and they wanted to remove their carbon footprint by 99%. So this basically included purchasing carbon credits, which is a bit of a strange way to do it. But anyway, look, they're purchasing carbon credits, they're planting trees, and are moving to use Polygon, which is the layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. So it moves away from using the proof of work network that Ethereum uses and moving into a proof of stake model, which is much better for the environment. And they also have come up with several partnerships in this side of the year as well, partnering with The Walking Dead, partnering with esports to bring sports in games and zombies, and they've also bought aboard a NFT for around 740 ETH, which is about 3 million. So you also have kind of celebrities and stuff getting involved in the Sandbox, and one of major of note was Snoop Dogg, and basically he had a party inside the Sandbox metaverse where he basically sold tickets off for people to come and join him in his mansion that he has inside there. And this is just of note, if more and more big names get involved in these kind of things, you're going to see it rising and rising. So you'll see in the video that I did previously on the end of the internet and beginning of the metaverse, which I will now link in the top left, it is basically explaining how virtual concerts, virtual events are now becoming more of a norm. So you can check that one out and you can see what your opinion is and whether you would attend any of these events. And also in November, they announced a major round of funding, which is backed by SoftBank. So SoftBank, you may have heard of them if you were educated in the investing world, as they're one of the major banks coming out of Japan. And they gave them a $93 million investment, which basically came off the back of when Facebook rebranded to Meta, and now they are now touching off all-time highs based on that news. So that is what has happened with the Sandbox in the last year and how it has gained more and more notoriety in the metaverse world. So look, that is basically a good little recap and a bit of a crash course on what has happened in the last year or so. So next we're just going to look at Sand's price action over the last few months and where do we see this going. So as you can see on the graph here, you can see it's had a huge run up in the last few weeks, which is absolutely crazy. So I kind of first started looking this at around October, and I just didn't have any capital at the moment or any cash on hand that I could put into Sand. And it then ran up 700% since I first looked at it, and I kind of regretting my decision, but eventually I got in as soon as I had a bit of cash to put in. I've now just started my position there, and look, if it goes down, I'll probably add a small bit more. But basically, this uptrend has gone very fast since Facebook has rebranded to Meta. Also, its NFT platform is gaining huge traction, which is also creating demand because things on the NFT platform are sold and bought in the Sand token itself. So that is what's driving the demand for Sand to keep going higher because of two of them things. And secondly, is also it's one of the smaller capped cryptocurrencies. So as you can kind of see here, it is one of the smaller capped cryptocurrencies in the metaverse. Anyway, it is definitely smaller than Decentraland and Axie Infinity, which are the two big bigger players in this sector. So also Sand has very good tokenomics, has a max supply of 3 billion, so you're not getting an inflationary currency or a deflationary currency. You're getting a max supply of 3 billion, which is also not all on the market at the moment. So the current distribution and vesting schedule, the vesting schedule is how quickly it gets to consumers and how much is released. And there's one coming up, one that's happened in December here, and it would basically have the potential of 300 million more sand being put on the open market. So the last time this happened in July, and that also kind of suppressed the price for a couple of weeks. So that we're expecting possibly the same thing could happen here as more on that coin comes onto the market. You could possibly see this price not really going too far in the short-term future. So that is another thing just to consider. So this could potentially offer an opportunity of a flat rate of sand token, and potentially offer you a way into this. So that's also one thing to consider. We also kind of have to think about what the roadmap is for Sandbox. So it's been one of the longest projects that there is in the crypto space. So this Sand, the game originally started as a 2D game, has basically been building for years. 40 million users at one point. So this is one of the most anticipated games when it does go fully live, which is expected to happen basically in this month or early 2022. So with the integration that they have done with Polygon, they need to make sure that this is perfect. So when they have this all done correctly, it will also allow for DeFi staking and for redeployment inside the Sandbox's NFT marketplace. Interestingly enough, on this Sandbox roadmap, the metaverse world will be open up gradual basis in early 2022 for people to get in there, and they can start building high quality in-game experiences. And by mid next year, hopefully it would have set up its autonomous organization, which is basically what one of the co-founders, Sebastian Borges, has suggested. And by the end of next year, it hopes to bring its new and improved virtual world back to mobile users, and hopefully this is made completely possible by then. You don't want to see more and more delays on this. We want to get this project out basically, because it has been building for so many years. And they also they might want to look at going onto console like Xbox, PlayStation, and that would also possibly bring it onto PC as well. So it's a good bit of stuff has to go on in the next year from their roadmap. That is potentially up in the air, and hopefully they hit all of these deadlines correctly. But look, we'll all have good faith and hope that they do hit them and get this game out there. So it is also worth noting that by the end of 2023, Sandbox hopefully wants to have 5,000 games available within its virtual world. And basically some of these games have already received funding from the Sandbox Foundation. So it's already gaining steam in this area, and it's also swifting towards you earn from playing the game. So this is an attractive model that has done very well for Axie Infinity, and people will be able to get jobs inside games. So you're looking at Paddy Power or Bet365. You have the person spinning the roulette wheel. You also have it happening in Decentraland as well. So you're going to have people literally getting crypto jobs inside the game. So this is also something to think of when you're getting into one of these metaverse coins. And look, there's going to be plenty of ways to earn money from this, as well as just price appreciation on the sand tokens that you do get. So they're also hoping that around 100% of the sand token will be held by the community in 3 to 5 years, which is quite quick really, if they want to get it out and among the community as quickly as possible. Generally these kind of vesting periods will last a bit longer than this, but look, this is their timeline, and we'll just have to see how it pans out over the next few years. So that's just kind of a bit about the price action that's been going on recently, and what the roadmap is for Sandbox going forward. So some of the issues I potentially have with Sandbox and their project that they're doing is basically, like, how are they going to live up to this hype? The hype's been building for years that they need to basically have all 40 million people put onto this kind of new virtual world, and can they basically live with this? So also kind of presents issues with scalability. That program that they developed also it can basically handle the amount of people that are being using this at once. So this is where a lot of cryptocurrencies come into problems, like, and it's actually to do with the scalabilities. So you can see this with Ethereum and its very, very high gas fees. It's basically because the amount of people that's using it, it wasn't built initially for that to be done. Like, for how many people are using it, it basically was not built for that. So they need to make sure that their scaling is basically up to Trump's, and they need it to work. And that's just one issue, and look, it remains to be seen. We won't know until it goes live if they're able to do this, if they've been able to make sure this all runs smoothly. And look, if you listen to what some of the CEOs have been saying, or the founders have been saying, they seem to know what they need to do and exactly how to do it. Like, so look, I have good faith that they will correct this concern, but it is one. It also has an issue with decentralization, which personally, I kind of understand why they've done this, but it does come with this issue. So basically, the centralization is all of their servers are based on AWS, which basically means that it is centralized to AWS. So it has a single point of failure. And I know AWS will basically counteract this and say that it is not a single kind of point of failure, because their servers will just, one server goes down one area, then moves it to another one, and moves to another one. So your bench, basically, you will not go down unless the entire AWS network across the world goes down. But compare that to Decentraland, which has basically private servers all around the world and has no single point of failure at all. So that is another thing that it does that differently. But Decentraland can only have 100 people on per server, whereas the Sandbox with the AWS, you have massive scalability. You can basically, you pay for what you use, so you can scale stuff very, very quickly inside AWS, and it's actually nearly an advantage in that way. But look, it does present that very, very small chance at a single point of failure. So also, one other concern is that the Sandbox Foundation does remain in full control of this project, but this is very, very similar to most projects and how they operate. They are very, very centralized at the beginning on how people do things, and how the crypto goes about its first development. They keep things close to heart and centralized at the beginning, and it's just going to be obviously over time it will eventually spread to all of the users, therefore like becoming a currency. But this is a reason why it will not be like listed on Coinbase or American exchanges, as basically then you have the SEC coming hunting for you, and that is not something that they want. And look, there's also one final thing, and that is the Financial Action Task Force, basically on crypto recommendations, are now mandating KYC, which is Know Your Customer. And if these mandates go through in June 2022, they will basically restrict not just sandboxes, but also other cryptocurrencies' plans for expansion and adoption on a large scale. There's a few concerns to do with Sand. So my conclusion to Sand is that this project is one that I've been watching for quite a while. I'm a big fan of the whole NFT thing and how they can basically include it in a cryptocurrency in this whole niche of the market. I think it's very, very good to have exposure to the coming kind of metaverse kind of play, so to speak. Instead of investing into stocks, investing into a cryptocurrency is definitely something to consider, and possibly always just allocate a bit of your crypto portfolio to that as well. And look, there is issues possibly with competitors with Decentraland and Axie Infinity. They are always going to be there on the sideline and could potentially cause problems for Sandbox down the line. And a lot of basically Sand's tokenomics is basically copied from Decentraland, so Decentraland must be extremely good if it's worth copying off. But look, it's in a great position, Sandbox. Like, it's coming from founders with some great experience in this area, and look, they're probably good people to have faith in. They've got lots and lots of experience in the gaming industry, and they're probably going to take this to the next level as well. And look, both founders they're very aware of what they must do and how they must drive adoption of their token and of their coin. Look, they've already onboarded 40 million people, and look, they could definitely get there to double, triple that over the coming years. Like, and look, if they follow the Minecraft route, like, which has over 500, 600 million users, they could definitely even just get a quarter of that or something. You're looking at a crazy amount of people playing on your platform. And also the attention is coming in from Ubisoft, which is also very, very good as well. Like, they're massive game developers, like basic ones that run the Assassin's Creed and Far Cry games, like, and look, they're a massive developer, like, and if they got involved in this kind of thing, it'd be absolutely fantastic. So look, it's trading at the moment at between around 5 to 6 euros a coin, which it's around a 5 to 6 billion market cap. Like, so look, it's definitely one to potentially add to your position. But look, again, this is not financial advice, and don't just add it just because I mentioned it. I do have personal holdings, as I had mentioned as well, like, but it's not a large amount in my portfolio at all when it comes to those side of things. Like, but look, I hope you enjoyed this video. You might want to get exposed now to the cryptocurrency metaverse, like, that's coming, like, and look, remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and join our sponsor 35mm Vintage. Get over to their site and get some deals in just before Christmas. It's an absolutely fantastic place to reuse clothes, and it's great for the environment. And look, that's exactly what the Sandbox Foundation are doing too. They're trying to be good to the environment, so you can too by buying some reused clothes from 35mm Vintage. So check that one out. And look, guys, I will see you in the next one, and I hope you enjoyed this. Just remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button too. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye bye.